Hey guys, hope you're having a good Saturday today. I wanted to stop for a bit while I was doing some stuff around the house. I wanted to talk about the LCD screen on the Switch. Now, we've heard a lot of stuff about it. The screen on the bottom, on the actual tablet that we all see now, that we look at, they're going to be using primarily for gaming on the go. And there's been a lot of reports coming out for it, and I wanted to kind of talk about the different things they've been saying, specifically about the actual touch screen itself. Now, it looks like Eurogamer and a bunch of other sources have said, yes, it's a touchscreen. But what's interesting about this touchscreen, okay, it's going to be a capacitive touchscreen and not a resistive screen. Now, if you've bought any of the Nintendo handhelds in the past, the 3DS, the DS Lite, the DS, any of those systems, they've used resistive touchscreens. And a resistive touchscreen is different from a capacitive in the sense that you can use things like a stylus or like your hands when they're gloved on a resistance one because it depends on pressure. So the actual pressure that you push on the screen is how it determines where it's being pressed, basically. Whereas with capacitive, it actually takes like the current, electrical currents technically in your fingers or your hands, and it detects that when you touch it. And because of this, this will be Nintendo's first system that's used a capacitive screen, which means it'll actually be the first Nintendo screen to have multi-touch features, because the older ones use resistive. Resistive can only support, as far as we could tell with everything that's come out, especially because Nintendo's never done this before, can only really support single touch features and very, very simple gestures with like two styluses or one stylus. Very, very simple gestures like circles and stuff like that. But keep in mind, when you use resistive, you have to essentially be pressing on it most of the time. Like, it's not, you can't like hover over it. Like, you can actually hover over some phone screens with your finger because it can detect that current. But because it's going to be capacitive, this will mean that it can actually use technically off-the-shelf parts. So it could use like an off-the-shelf LCD and touchscreen combo. So the screen and the glass will probably be fused with some kind of like translucent glue, like a Loca glue, which becomes basically clear when you basically put it in a UV light, and that will make the actual screen much brighter, and it'll be very thin then. Whereas the other ones, they were technically, if you take apart like a 3DS or a DS Lite or anything like that, the resistive screen is not glued to the LCD. It's actually like taped around the edge essentially, and you can just peel them apart. But this will give much better clarity. You won't be able to get any dust between the actual screen and the glass essentially, which is great. And there'll be more features to it, because you can do capacitive now on all of our phones have them, all of our tablets have them. Support usually now up to 10 fingers essentially touching it, so 10 points of touch, which is really cool because then we can do a lot of stuff. Obviously, you'll be able to surf the web on it, that's a given, you know, you can pinch to zoom and everything like that, but there'll be a lot of different things that developers can now do with it, and it'll be able to emulate more of like a lot of people like the different mobile games. Technically, I'm not saying we want every single mobile game on this device, but there's not much stopping it from being on this device now. As long as that screen is up to a 10 point, you can do that. And the interesting thing, a lot of reports have come out now talking about how when it's in dock position, you won't be able to touch the screen, and that makes sense. But a lot of places are coming out with pictures where they're examining that trailer, and sources have come out saying that there will be an IR sensor, an IR blaster. Like the top of a Wii remote, for example, has that IR. The top of your TV remote has the IR. And it's actually going to, at that point, be able to emulate touch when you're sitting away from the TV. Now, if there's a part in the game where you have to, you know, like touch something on the screen or anything, you can just use this remote essentially on that Joy-Con and kind of touch it with it by like kind of just hovering over it like it's a remote. And this isn't a bad idea. The only problem I have with this rumor in particular is the positioning of the IR blaster seems very odd. It's at like the bottom, so you'd have to, when you're playing it normally, you'd have to then like turn it around kind of and use it, and then like kind of flip it back. It seems a little weird. I know this is just a rumor, but it seems a little out there to me personally, only because that's not ergonomic at all, and I don't think Nintendo would do something like that. It seems weird, but you never know. I mean, they have to figure that out. If it's going to be a touchscreen and then it goes to the dock, obviously you cannot use that touchscreen. It's blocked essentially by that big Switch logo. You know what? I think this is a good thing. I think the capacitive touch makes a lot of sense. It's very current. A lot of the stuff going into this sounds a little too current for Nintendo, guys. I mean, Nintendo likes to use not old hardware, but older hardware to save money, essentially. And this system seems like they're using a lot of newer or very current stuff in it. And the capacitive touchscreen is obviously, we've been using it for a while, but I mean, up until the 3DS XL, even the new 3DS XL, using resistive screens. This is the first time we're going to have a capacitive multi-touch screen on a Nintendo product. And that's actually a really good thing. That's really cool. But this whole thing about the remote with the IR Blaster doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Also, the Wii needed a sensor bar that you put on top of the TV, and I don't know where you would put it for that to work. I mean, on all the trailers, there was no sensor bar. Granted, maybe they didn't want us to know that there would be a sensor bar with it, but it would be very odd to have a sensor bar coming out of that dock and sitting on top of a TV. I mean, they could probably do it. It's probably not a big deal. Some people seem to think that the dock has IR lights on it, but then that would require a very specific positioning of the dock, and it would probably have to be near the TV somewhere or in front of it, and that dock seems a little high. It might block the TV. And then even if you want to put it above your TV, then you're risking your Switch being way up here. You know, I don't know. It seems odd. They would have to use some sort of sensor bar, some kind of IR lighting to show your controller where that TV is, and I just don't think that makes a lot of sense. Maybe there's something else they have figured out for that, or maybe we are just going to use a sensor bar. I don't know. But the whole IR Blaster thing, the positioning of it where they think it is, makes no sense to me. Maybe it'll be repositioned in the newer one, but remember the shoulder buttons and stuff are up there when you're playing, so it probably would have to go on the bottom. Maybe go on the side, because you kind of hold it like this, maybe. I don't know. But the touchscreen, yes, capacitive 10-point touch is awesome. It'll probably be like glass then. It won't be like a plastic or anything, so it will be a glass screen more than likely, guys. So we're going to be careful with the actual tablet. You can't be dropping it or anything, or it will crack. So, but it's good news to me with this screen. I really want to get to January, guys. I want us to do like a live stream or something where I can hang out with you guys. We can watch the thing together, but we'll get there hopefully. And the winners are coming tonight, guys. I'm gonna have another video coming up tonight, and we'll talk about who won Pokemon and who won the clocks and everything. So tune in tonight, guys. We'll shoot for 7 o'clock Eastern time tonight. I actually have a podcast I'm gonna be on in the next 2 hours. So if you want to tune in, you can. It's Gamer versus Gaming, and I think they'll probably have that up tomorrow. They also, I believe, do a live stream of it too, so don't quote me on that though. But yeah, so more stuff tomorrow, guys, and I wanted to talk about Microsoft. I had a couple of opinions on their Xbox that I thought you guys might be interested in, and I also have some opinions on the PS4 Pro also you guys might be interested in. So definitely check back tonight for winners and everything, and I guess I'll talk about the Mario and Rayman Ravid Rabbids strategy RPG Fire Emblem type game, which I know that sounds weird, but check back tonight, guys, 7 o'clock Eastern. We'll have the results of the contest and a couple other things. I'll see you guys then.